Okay, well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Shergroup on the Sofa, where I'm joined with Dale and Chelsea today. Hi, guys.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, everyone.
And before we get into the show, I just wanted to say hello to all our fans out there, going as far as the Philippines, UK, and US, and of course to our number one fan, Ross. Hello from me, Ross, and hi.
Hey, Ross.
Hey, Ross. How are you, sir?
There you go. So all the way from Orlando this morning. Thank you so much for that. If anyone else wants a shout out, particularly from our American friends, then please let me know and I'll make sure you get one. But Ross does ask me every week. So I'm super excited to have Dale here today, Dale McMindes from Allstate and Chelsea Whalley, because Dale and I met through BNI, which I continue to plug as a referral business for your business. And if you're not in BNI and you're looking for sales, then this is a great forum to join and get involved with. And Dale has done an outstanding job for our chapter. He's a past president of our chapter, and he's got his royal purple on today.
Woo woo! That's for sure.
Queen
Celebrating the 70 years of reign for our illustrious Great Britain.
Thank you so much for that. We appreciate it. I got a little bit of bunting going on in the background. So anyway, can't take the Brit out of me completely. Okay, so we just wanted to jump into what you guys do and how you help business owners. I mean, that's what Shergroup's all about, is about helping business owners. I know that employee benefits are a big part of a business's ability to recruit and retain great people. Can you give me a summary of what that kind of looks like with you guys? How does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. So I will start. Employee benefits, that's a pretty broad statement, right? When a new employee is looking at employee benefits package, they're usually looking at, the most obvious being the medical, dental, vision. Those are considered the core benefits. There's also ancillary, supplemental, or what I like to call enhanced benefits, which are the other lines of coverage that enhance the whole package. That's going to be like short-term disability, long-term disability, life insurance, accident, cancer coverage, critical illness, hospital, all those kind of extras. But that's just a basic employee benefits package. Employees nowadays are really looking for more, and they're really looking for that wow factor. That can be retirement, right? What kind of paid time off policies do you have? Pet insurance is one that's for the younger generation. They absolutely love to see. So the employee benefits package needs to be specific to the culture of the company. So once we learn about the culture of the company and the kind of employees they're trying to attract and retain, that is when we're able to kind of make an understanding of what's the best benefits package for that specific company.
And do you go ahead, Dave.
And I was going to say, I'm just going to jump in also. And of course, from the employer side, they're looking to be able to bring on the best employees. And so if they know they can attract a better employee by providing a benefits package along with a salary that is, in line with where that should be, that's going to bring a better employee to them as well.
Of course. It's all about retaining the talent, isn't it? And keeping our good people tucked up. So that they want to stay with us and they want to feel at home in our businesses and deliver great service to our customers. Yeah, it's all about that, building a team.
It can be expensive. So one thing I just want to say on that is looking at it from a total compensation standpoint can be very helpful for business owners. So when you're recruiting or doing, let's say, an annual review with an existing employee, yes, their salary might be X, right? Let's just say 50,000. But if you're contributing to medical, dental, vision, a 401k, you have a significant paid time off policy. If you're doing anything else, all of that goes into what we call the total compensation package, right? So you might have a $50,000 salary, but in reality, it feels like 65 to them. And that's something that employers don't often communicate to their employees very well.
Right.
So it's, in the fierce labor market that we're in, it's something to consider.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. And what about the great resignation? I mean, we're talking about holding on to people and building these packages that work for them in terms of benefits. What about the great resignation, which is a worldwide phenomenon? It's not unique to Florida or to the United States. It's across the world.
Right. And
how does this start to work to help people want to stay in work and want to be part of an organization rather than going on their own or retiring?
yeah, that's a really good question. So I've heard over and over again that 2022 is considered the year of the empathetic employer. So it's for a lot of industries, it's not enough anymore to just simply provide a benefits package, to just simply have a decent wage. Employer or employees during the great pause, which was the beginning of COVID, they really had time to reflect on what was important to them. And the great resignation was inspired by people deciding, I don't want to work for that person anymore. I want to do something different. I want to live somewhere else. So there's a whole sort of this ethos, right? Like ethos is the guiding spirit or principle of a person or organization. Employees are getting in touch with their ethos, and then they want to find organizations that match that. So that's what has spurred the great resignation. But how does that impact employers? There just needs to be a little bit more meaning and intention put into the benefits package. And that doesn't mean you have to change the benefits offering, but maybe you need to communicate it differently. And that's what I've seen be really interesting, is a lot of employers think, okay, well, with the great resignation, now I need to budget even more for healthcare. That's not necessarily the case.
Okay.
Perhaps we just need to communicate your benefits in a way that your employees actually want to receive it, if that makes sense.
I like the pet insurance.
Everyone does.
I think that's a great. My daughter's just had a cat that needs an operation, and she hasn't got insurance. So it's expensive, right? And people love their animals, and so that must be a sort of a USP for somebody if they're prepared to insure your pets, your furry friends. I love that idea. Okay. So, I mean, what strategies have you seen? You're talking about employers being more imaginative and more innovative with their benefits packages. What have you actually seen combating this change in the workplace?
So I'm seeing employers that, because they have to, not necessarily because they want to. I'm sure they would want to, but they have to contribute more. They have to have competitive coverage. Some real life examples of if let's say an employer doesn't have the budget to contribute more to healthcare, if they're doing just the standard 50%, which is the minimum, right? Let's say they don't want to do 75 or they can't. Well, they could also alter their eligibility window. So maybe right now it's set up that the employee can enroll the next day after 90 days of hire. Well, to be more competitive, perhaps they do first of the month following 30 days of employment. So they drop down the window of time that a new hire would need to actually take advantage of the benefits. That's a really cost-effective way to become a little bit more competitive. Another cost-effective way to become more competitive is to ensure that you have a very robust supplemental or enhanced benefit offering. So for example, if you're going to be offering, an accident, critical illness, disability, life insurance, if you're offering those plans and you're doing it on a voluntary basis, meaning the employees are paying for it, a lot of the times the employer doesn't think too much about those plans because ultimately they don't feel that it's, impacting them tremendously. Well, if you want to be more competitive, if you could lower the cost of those plans for the employees, that's a huge bonus. That's more money in their pocket, more money to offset the cost of the medical. So we've definitely seen more considerations for the types of plans that are being offered. Obviously, the cost has always been an issue, but more so than ever. And then playing with the eligibility windows.
So, but once they get you guys involved, then you can take a really kind of strategic view of all this. And help an employer to figure out what their budget is and really make that plan work for that particular business. I mean, it seems like there's a lot of flexibility in what you do because you know the systems and you know how to get the right pricing for employers.
Right. And most important is sustainability in the healthcare program, because everybody knows, right, inflation in healthcare. You hear companies constantly and rightfully so complaining about increases in medical costs year after year and how it just becomes so burdensome on the business. I mean, a benefits package, specifically the health insurance, can be the second or the third top expense in a business. It's huge. So the concern is not only offering it, right, but how do you sustain when you don't know year to year what those increases are going to be? If there's no control over the trend, that's what's scary for business owners. So, and that's where, we've really differentiated ourselves, is getting employers into a program for healthcare where they can actually create some sustainability and some stability in the year after year renewals. So it's a little bit different of an approach, but it really works for companies that are thinking multi-year, that don't want to just react every single year to a renewal increase, but want to actually have a plan, operate your healthcare and your benefits program like a unit in your business.
Let me throw something else in there. It is amazing with looking at different plans that, and Chelsea and I were attending a meeting here a couple weeks ago, and the just for an X-ray. The cost of an X-ray for an employee. I mean, you could get 20 different costs for the same medical procedure, depending upon the type of plan that is being offered. So, being strategic about not only trying to put together a package, but also making sure that you have the right package, because cost differentiation is so wide and so varied these days.
I couldn't agree more. There's such an issue in this country with transparency on pricing. That's why you've seen the No Surprises Billing Act and a lot of legislation about it, because I'm in healthcare. I had a procedure done a couple, I think maybe a year ago now, but I checked. I said, is my anesthesiologist in network? Is everything in network? Yes, yes, yes. And then I get billed for an out-of-network anesthesiologist, $2,000. And I do this for a living, but the program that I was on, I had absolutely no transparency. I had no way of knowing until it was too late. So, what we try to do is take a much more proactive approach. How people consume healthcare in this country is like nothing else. Think about it. If you were going to make a reservation for dinner and people were coming into town, you're excited, you have friends coming in, whatever, you want to show them around Orlando or whatever city you're in, I can guarantee you that you would probably spend more time finding the right fit of a restaurant than you would finding a specialist or a primary care doctor. And the reason is because we don't have data. Most companies don't have access to the quality scores and the outcomes for physicians or facilities, even hospitals. You pick something like a surgeon or a specialist based on recommendations of your friends, subjective reviews online that mostly talk about bedside manner. But what quantitative data do we have that shows readmission rates, complications, overall quality scores of providers and facilities? On a normal plan, the plan that most companies are on, you don't get that. So what we specialize in is making sure that the employees actually can have that data. Like if you're going to have a heart surgery, don't you want to make sure that you're going to the person who doesn't have readmission rates and has the best quality score possible? The unique thing about that is if you're going to the right place and the best provider, your cost is lower because they do it so well, they do it so often, your cost is lower. So there's a lot of different ways to approach healthcare that businesses aren't even aware of.
Well, I have to say, as a Brit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm Canadian. I get it.
Yeah, you're Canadian, right? So you've got universal healthcare. We've got universal healthcare, but I live here now, right? So anything you guys can do to, unravel the complexities of your healthcare system, which is in the private sector, is welcome to us that are coming to live here from abroad, because it is complicated. Just trying to get our head around the pricing. I mean, I go to an X-ray in the UK, it doesn't cost me anything, and I don't have to show any ID, and I don't, I just rock up and I get the coverage. So anything that you can do to help shine a light on that, I think is important, even for American businesses and American business owners, just getting their head around the figures that are involved and really making it as transparent. It's still a bit of a dark, to use a Harry Potter phrase, it's a bit of a dark art.
It is.
What you do. And yet, if you do it and you put that plan together, what a relief for the employees, what a great thing for the employer to do. And how much more comfortable everybody is in terms of if they have an accident or they have a nasty disease, that they are covered. It's so important. It really is. So, I mean, we've just been through this terrible 2 years on the whole planet of this wretched COVID. I mean, how has that impacted on, you know, what you're doing and how you're working with employee benefits? How has that affected your business?
Well, for the benefits agency that I run, honestly, COVID was a blessing for us in a lot of ways. We were hybrid for a long time. So we had employees that were remote, we had employees in the office, but then we went fully digital, which was amazing, and it needed to happen. We also were able to acquire clients all over the country because the idea of, well, I need to see my broker once a year in my office, that went out the window. So it opened up a whole new market for us, where people, business owners, were like, well, wow, if you're doing that for businesses in Florida and Georgia and, you know, South Carolina, North Carolina, why can't you do it in Texas? Why can't we go to the other side of the country? So for us, our business expanded a lot to the west side of the country and the central part of the country, because people weren't thinking small anymore. They were like, well, hey, I see you speaking on national stages. Why can't we work with you? And we're like, well, you can, you know, so COVID was able to really open up that door for us, which was wonderful. And then from more of a personal business, as a, you know, as an agency owner, I was able to acquire incredible talent. So because I have employees in Washington, North Carolina, Texas, and, you know, Florida was great, but I have really good talent all across the country now because I'm getting to select from such a bigger pool.
Yes, I am a big fan. Shergroup has worked remotely for 6 years plus. We took all of our team in India to remote working. We work remotely in the UK and now in the US. Obviously, our security business, which is what we do here, security guards can't work remotely, but all of our back office support teams work remotely, and it's a fantastic freedom for a business to be able to do that. And the genie is out of the bottle. If anyone thinks that their staff are going to troop back to the office and work in the office, wake up. the genie's out of the bottle on that. But that said, even though people are working from home and you know, forward-thinking employers are embracing this, how does that affect I mean, they can still get something nasty, they can still have an accident. How does your coverage work when somebody decides to elect to work from home or wants to work from home?
Yeah, there's just more consideration. So if you have a remote workforce and you didn't prior, there's more considerations for, you know, networks, and to make sure when we're speaking about medical specifically, if you're on like a carrier model, we need to be looking at all PPO options. If you have multi-state employees, there's also considerations then on the voluntary or the supplemental benefits. Everything's based out of where the company is headquartered. So for example, if you're headquartered in Florida and you have employees like I do in Washington and Texas, they're all going to be getting those same plans based out of the state of Florida, which is really interesting. So you want to just make sure that you're designing it correctly. That's the biggest thing. And I think what people aren't thinking about with regards to like remote employee benefits is, you know, the needs are changing for the employees when they're remote. So they might benefit from childcare benefits. If they have kids that aren't in school yet, right? Like that's a very specific benefit that somebody might
definitely
need. And then also one thing I've noticed with COVID, this kind of goes back to your first question, but I meant to mention it, was with the great pause and then the great resignation and people really just thinking differently, I guess, about their lives and the things they can do. We see a lot of family planning coming to the forefront, and these conversations that are being had in the workplace that weren't really typically done there. So we're seeing a lot of our larger clients, like 500 plus employees, are offering fertility benefits. Yeah, and that's been really incredible, or adoption assistance, things of that nature to help employees. Remember earlier I was talking about the ethos, right? The why. People are usually generally, the work is their purpose in their life to provide for their family. Well, if they want a family and they can't have a family and an employer can help that, I mean, imagine the loyalty that creates with an employee to a business. So we've seen a lot of loyalty building with those types of family planning benefits.
Well, that's incredibly innovative. I haven't heard of that before. And would that cover things like IVF and things like that for people? Yeah, which, you know, if people are struggling to start a family, that's that's an incredibly valuable benefit, isn't it? To be able, and you can wrap that up into a benefits plan for.
So there's a couple ways to do it most of the time. So if you're a self-funded employer, which is what we specialize in, but you want to be a little bit bigger to do this. So with a self-funded employer, you can build treatment like that right into the plan. But what I'm seeing most companies do is use an outside vendor, and it basically ends up being an allotment of money. Like, let's say $10,000. If the employee meets the criteria, then they get that to then pursue the treatment along with a coach to do all of it. So it's usually more of an expense, not necessarily a reimbursement, but an allotment. But it is, you can build it into a benefits plan as well.
I love the fact that if that's where employers are being guided or shown a path to be able to help employees like that, I think, that is why, we come to work for probably 40 years of our lives in various, maybe in one company or across companies. And what are we all working for? We're all working to make money to be able to sustain our lives and our families. So I think, anything innovative that helps employees to get out of the workplace, what they need, which could be, starting a family, which can be very, very stressful if that's not something that's going to happen naturally. I love that. Only in America, I think, would be people. I don't think people in Britain think like that.
And only in America is it the business owner's, responsibility to solve all the problems.
Yes. But even so, if it leads to creative strategies, then the rest of the world can take notice of that, huh?
Absolutely.
So that's something to think about.
And if it helps that business owner to, again, I go back to what I stated earlier, to be able to bring in the right employee who will help grow that company, then it's well worth the employer, business owner, to take a couple extra steps and work with a team such as what we can provide. Because in the long term, that company will grow or fail based upon the employees that they have in the workforce.
I'm completely there with you, Dale. I completely agree with that. So, unique trends, that must be a unique trend. Are you seeing any other unique trends in the workplace in this post-pandemic era?
Yeah, there's a lot of concern for data privacy with remote workers. They're working maybe on unsecure networks. They're mixing their personal information with the business information. The kids might be using work laptops. There's just everything's cloud-based, and there's multi-cloud systems that aren't necessarily being set up with the right firewalls and protections. So we're seeing a big push for employers to start thinking about that before it becomes a huge problem. Data privacy and identity theft. So like an InfoArmor type benefit as well is something people are asking for a lot this year.
Okay, and is that coming from the employer or the employee? Who's driving that?
It's mostly the employer, just with the data breach and whatnot, but the employees are very receptive to it. The other benefits that I think were a result of COVID, we've always had hospital plans and disability plans and obviously life insurance, but with COVID and, all of us just seeing people we know be sick for months or even pass away, I think it was a real eye-opener for a lot of people who wouldn't take the enhanced or supplemental benefits in the past. We're seeing those people enroll when they get the chance to do so.
Yeah, COVID has been a bit scary, right? And we all thought we were immortal until COVID came along, and then we learned that actually we're pretty vulnerable to some old nasty virus out there. So with that, it was a bit of a wake-up call. Healthcare costs, health insurance costs, they're not going to go down, are they? No. So how does an employer? No, I know. I was just wishful thinking.
Right.
How does an employer, create a sustainable plan? Is there any way to fix those costs over year-on-year increases? How does that work?
Yeah, there's really only one way, and that way is getting access to your claims data, getting access to what exactly are you paying for, what's going into your healthcare plan. So the way to do that is to go to what we call a custom model healthcare. So Allstate specifically purchased National General, which is an insurance company that's been around forever, and they have a self-funded product or stop loss insurance. So what we're doing, and many carriers do it, Allstate's very good at it. That's what we do, is we build these custom plans, because when you do it that way, we get to see every single claim. Where are employees going? How much are they being charged? And we can actually put in measures to control the cost. So for example, let's say an employee is on a specialty drug, and on the current plan that they're on, it's charging the plan $15,000 a month. Well, with the carrier model, which is what most companies are doing, they're never going to know that that drug is on the plan. They're never going to know that it's charging the plan however much it's charging. And it's at renewal when they get their 10% increase and they go, well, why did I get a 10% increase? The broker is going to say, I guess you had high claims, but do we see the claims? No. Did we see the prescriptions? No. So it's just, well, healthcare inflation, COVID, these mediocre brokers get so overpaid, right? So overpaid every year to just be like, sorry, there's nothing we can do. Well, the truth is there is. It's just, it's more work on our part. Obviously, it's more work for the company at the beginning, because we have to underwrite the group. So that, you have to get the data to show the insurance companies, hey, here's the risk in my company. Do you want it? And most of the time that risk will be accepted. We'll see the claims. We'll see that high cost drug is on there. And then we can source that drug from Canada or from the UK for a third of the price. The employee gets it for free, and they get a 3-month supply, and there goes their tier 4 copay. There's just so many amazing things that you can do when you go to a custom model. You can control the cost, but you can also control the quality and give the employees access to that information that we were talking about earlier, right? Like, how do you make the right decisions in healthcare? In a carrier model, you absolutely can't. In a custom model, you can. Because we can see the claims that are coming in throughout the year, we're able to project for the future. Okay, so you're running really hot this year. What are some steps we can take? Can we source drugs? Can we direct employees elsewhere? Can we put in a nurse concierge to consult employees before they go and receive treatment, to guide and direct them in the right manner?
Yeah.
You can actually take steps to do the right thing in that model. So that's the only way.
Yeah. I understand that. And I love the idea of being able to source drugs beyond the borders of the United States, as long as they obviously are able to be used and approved. Because I think healthcare is becoming, after the pandemic, definitely a global issue now. Whereas perhaps before COVID, we were all in our silos in our countries, and then this pandemic swept across the planet, and we realised we really are all connected, and we need to work together to overcome some of these health issues that we definitely suffered as a result. So, I mean, in terms of you're a benefits broker, you get a large publicly traded agency. Who's a large publicly traded agency broker?
Yeah, so there's big names out there. I mean, agencies that are really big and publicly traded, like you might hear about Brown & Brown or Aon, Mercer, Gallagher.
Okay, I've heard of Aon.
Yeah, you've heard those names for sure. And they're amazing companies. I mean, they've been around a long time. They know what they're doing. They have departments for everything. The thing is the way that this industry works is that brokers traditionally are compensated based off of premium. So what I mean by that is, if a company's health insurance premium is $500,000 a year, the broker is being paid generally a percentage of that. So next year, when their premium is $575,000 a year, the commission goes up. So the interests aren't aligned. And that was one of the reasons that we decided to run our agency and do things differently, truthfully, and inspire employers to think differently about healthcare, is because the person that they're trusting might not have aligned interests. And that's not everybody, right? Like, there's a bunch of consultants that know this and still do the right thing for their clients. But why not add that level of transparency in showing your compensation and also working on a fee-based model? So instead of a percentage of premium, I would prefer to get paid X amount per employee that's enrolled every single year that you hire me. I'm a professional, right? I want to be treated like an attorney. I want to be treated like a CPA because I'm consulting you on a healthcare strategy. I don't want to get paid more when you lose, right? We even have done it in the past where we'll do performance-based compensation for large enough clients. So if we, are able to drop your healthcare spend, then we'll take a little bit extra, but there's no misaligned interests. Unfortunately, larger publicly traded agencies tend to get huge bonuses from carriers for their block of business. So the larger the block of business, the bigger the bonus. That bonus pays salaries. That bonus is people's lives. They're not going to be incentivized to look at these custom plans, to look at the types of things that I'm talking about, because they need to take care of their employees, right? Just the same way all of us need to take care of our employees. So there's nothing wrong with that model. It's just, if I'm an employer and I'm out there and I want to control my healthcare costs and actually have a plan, I want to be asking the right questions, right? Like, how are you paid? Are you getting a giant bonus off of me being a part of your
it's
carrier?
very important. I mean, people have got to be able to ask you that, haven't they?
Yes. How do you get paid?
And if you're able to give that transparency, that's a great strength, really, of your model, I think.
Yeah, I hope so.
And bottom line is, let's put that in layman's term, is that the companies out there, these insurance companies are not incentivized to go out and spend the extra time and the extra effort to help find those the ability to lower down the cost, because if they're looking to add on and add on and add on, where our team is definitely, we work on as Chelsea said so well, we're looking to be transparent in terms, so that if you know where we're at, we're gonna work harder to try to find you those lower cost plans and still provide superior coverage.
Right.
Bottom line.
Yeah. Well, this is a big cost for employers here, and it is something that needs an innovative approach, because everybody's looking to reduce their costs in business if they're smart, and keep those costs under control while growing their business at the same time. So, what you're offering is getting a handle on that, I think, and getting control of that aspect. Maybe people are, anxious about stepping into this arena. Listening to you today, perhaps they'll come and talk to you, and you can explain it in more detail, obviously, to anyone that reaches out to you. But it is a worry for business owners, I think, because the world is uncertain.
Absolutely. And there's just so much fraud and waste and abuse in the current healthcare system. Like with that $15,000 drug, for example, the pharmacy is getting a spread on it. The insurance carrier is taking a cut of it. Like, every piece of the system is taking, and the employer is ultimately the one losing, and their employees are ultimately the ones losing, because for them to sustain cost, a lot of the times what we see employers do is say, okay, well, we need a higher deductible plan. We got to lower our co-insurance. We got to make higher co-pays. So the cost, the risk transference is really to the employees. And those are the people we're trying to take care of. So this whole problem of, healthcare program sustainability is very complex, and the answer differs per organization. But at the end of the day, if you can't see the numbers, you have no idea what you're talking about, and you have no power whatsoever.
No. So I love the idea that you're going to dig into a client's whole kind of situation and dig out the data, dig out their claims history, and really get into the data around what it is that they're trying to insure and protect people against. I think that's such the right approach. And if you're going to manage all that and handle that for an employer, it makes it all very doable. But otherwise, you're just staring at a sheer cliff face, thinking, how the heck do I make a start on this? Whereas you guys can come in and really start to unravel it for people, which is huge, really huge. What is your best advice for employers who want to improve their benefits package? What do you say about that, both of you?
That's a good question. My first piece of advice is ask yourself, and your executives, if you're not the only decision maker, what is the purpose of offering healthcare in our organization? Like, why do we truly do this? Do we do it because we have to? We're over 50 employees. Do we do it to retain the people we have because people are coming after them? Are we doing it to attract new employees, right? Are we doing it because it's the right thing to do and we believe in it? When you know the why behind and the intent, right? That's what I mean about the time has passed where you can just like work with a mediocre broker, throw together a benefits package and give it to the employees. Those days are gone. There has to be intention and a meaningful approach to the decisions for benefits. And then my second piece of advice is work with a fiduciary, work with somebody who's going to do the right thing, work with someone who's going to show you what they're getting paid, work with someone who's not afraid to work hard, right? Like the partners that you choose for your business, especially when it comes to healthcare and what impacts your employees so much, it's very important.
So you're a fiduciary?
Yes. So my business partner is our fiduciary. He has a financial services background. He's got all the licenses. And that was kind of our big differentiator is we bring a fiduciary approach to meaningful and intentional benefits.
Okay. All right. Well, I still think that people need to, jump on a call with you and get that exploratory conversation going.
It can't hurt. That's for sure.
And then obviously, wherever they are in the country, they can then sort of like communicate with you through Zoom or Teams or whatever their preferred channel is, and put this together digitally. So you don't even have to be in the same part of the country if you're in California. And we've just started a business in California, so I you know that I'm talking to you about benefits packages because that's coming down the road for us. So I understand completely, and I'm so glad that I've got Dale in my network. I see him every week at my meetings, and I've met you, Chelsea. So that's a load off my mind. We haven't done anything yet, but it's definitely on my list.
We will. And it's one of those things where you just want to, if you're listening to this right now and you're like, man, that's really overwhelming, plan for January. At least have a conversation now so you can budget it out if you're a newer business or you've never offered benefits before. It's not something that you have to jump into. There's a lot of ways to stagger into it by offering certain things that are more cost effective first. So, we meet people where they are and we help them get where they want to go ultimately. Yeah,
I think that's important as well. It's a journey.
Yes.
It's not just a quick decision or a couple of Zoom calls and it all falls into place.
That'd be nice.
Particularly with a business that's growing, right?
That'd be too easy.
You're making it sound very logical and very paced. But I'm sure that it's one of those things you because employers need that help, and that's why we do this Shergroup on the Sofa, so that we shine a spotlight on the types of services that are going to help employers make these hard decisions on budget, so that they've got people they can trust and they know through being in Shergroup's community. As a follow-up to all of that, Dale, I just gave you a nice notable network award this morning at our chapter. You helped so many people in BNI with referrals. Does your job, does your day job help you connect up the dots with the people that you're, meeting and seeing? You just seem to know a hell of a lot of people.
Well, quite honestly, it's a referral mindset. You have to have a mindset. First off, you have to surround yourself with people who like, and trust. Yeah. And then second off, you have to be intentional about listening. I think that's a key that a lot of people forget. And even, when Chelsea and our team, when we want to talk to a business owner or decision maker about their employee benefits, either reviewing the current plans they already have in place to see if we can make improvement or to start a brand new plan. I think the key to it is that you've got to listen for what's their need. If you're not solving that need, then you've just wasted their time, and quite frankly, then you've just kind of wasted your time as well. But going back to what you stated, it's about being intentional. First off, surround yourself with the right people. I've surrounded myself, my benefits team is Chelsea and our group together. And second off, it is a matter of just listening, and then taking the appropriate steps to not be. Anyone can go out and sell a product. Anyone can go out and talk to you and talk. I mean, sell ice to Eskimos. You hear that all the time.
Yeah.
But if you're doing it the right way, I mean, our partnership, my Chelsea's team and my agency's partnership is that we are here for the long haul. We're not here just to go in, sell a product, and then good luck. We will never see you again. You never hear from us again. No. Our commitment and the way that we approach things is slow, is methodical. It's take the pace that the company wants to take, whether it be a rabbit's pace or whether it be a snail pace. We want to do it the right way because we want to be there not only in year one. We want to be.
Excuse me.
We want to be there in year 20, in year 40, year 60, whatever the company needs us to do to make sure that their employee teams are getting the best offerings. That's what we want to do. And I think that's really the key that might separate us apart from a lot of our competition who are looking for that quick sale and get out, and then good luck to you afterwards. And that's definitely not our approach. Our approach is that we want to grow with you and be a trusted referral partnership with that company.
Yeah, I love that. And for BNI members who are tuning into this, Dale is a tremendous asset to our chapter, but he's also a tremendous asset to BNI in terms of the people he knows. And now he's telling you about his business in terms of this difficult area, employee benefits, and how he can take that pain away really for you as a business owner or decision maker and make it far easier with him and Chelsea and the rest of their team. So I think that's tremendous. And Dale, you do have this great catchphrase. So come on, what do you say at the meetings? Just say it for me.
Excuse me. Friends don't let friends buy from Aflac and Colonial Life. Okay,
so don't buy from that company. Buy from these guys. I mean, that's the bottom line. But buy from you because you've been doing this a long time, and you've got a trusted and great reputation out there, which is tremendous. So thank you for that. Well, okay. Well, thank you so much, Dale and Chelsea, for that canter through all things to do with employee benefits. And I thought that was, illuminating. I hope you'll come back and talk to us again. Perhaps when Shergroup's done its plan, we can talk about that and what that looks like and how we went through the process of putting that together with you. I'd be happy to share that to make people, let people understand that we're doing it ourselves. It's not just something that we're talking about today. And please visit Dale's website. I'll put it in the show notes, agentsallstates.com and Dale McMindes. We'll put your contact details in there as well, Dale. So we want all your social media in our show notes, so that we can promote your social media, and we'll be joining your social media as well. And also for Chelsea, her website, jdonovan.financial, I think that's right, Chelsea. And again, we'll put your contacts and website into our show notes so that everybody can contact you. And also we need to link up on LinkedIn, because I think that's a great channel for you guys in terms of the type of people that we know in Florida and elsewhere in the United States. There's definitely an audience for your product on there as well. Are you great LinkedIn users? Do you use LinkedIn a lot?
Yeah, fairly.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, we'll be promoting you on there with this video as well. So let's hope you get some inquiries from that. And thanks everyone. This is a very much a kind of a US centric video, but I think it's very interesting because when people outside the US think about the US and the healthcare system, they know it's expensive. Although we do have some fantastic healthcare facilities here. So people want to know how to access that. People want to come and build businesses in America like Shergroup did, and they want to know how to get on board with all of the system of running a business, of which employee benefits is a big part. So thank you very much for sharing that, and we'll make it easy for you to reach Dale and Chelsea, as I say, in the show notes. For everyone else, if Shergroup is floating your boat, then check us out on shergroup.com. We're on Insta, Shergroup Chatter, Facebook, Shergroup Chatter. We have a Shergroup US page. We've just gone on TikTok. Who knew? We have a Pinterest page. We have a YouTube channel, which this will be on. YouTube is huge. Please get to YouTube, everybody, because that's a search engine in its own right, and video is the way forward. And for, you know, for complex areas of business, it's a great way to meet experts like Chelsea and Dale, and, you know, break it up, break it down into component parts and how you can just start to plan and pace yourselves. Okay, so thank you so much, both of you, for your time today, and fascinating conversation, and just really impressed with how much knowledge and support you have for businesses out there. I think it's a great thing that you're doing, and I wish you all the best with it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Claire.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye for now.
Right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.